Greetings. John Lindquist with Accounting Business Solutions by JCS Computer. I'm a Sage 100 consultant. I'm excited to be here today to present to you the presentation Simplifying Complex Sales Commissions. Before we get started, I'll share real quick. It's often surprised me over the years the number of times I've walked into companies to find somebody in the back office going through their monthly sales reports produced from Sage 100 and then going into a spreadsheet and figuring out what their commissions were going to be for their salespeople for the end of the month. Always ask the question, why are you doing that? And often the response is, well, we don't think the system's capable of doing commissions the way we do commissions. And in some cases that may be the case, but often cases that isn't. So in any case, my objective here today is to share with you and hopefully show you just how simple it is to set commissions up in the system, and once they're set up, how to process our commissions and then report on them at the end of the month. So without any further ado, let's get started. Whoops. And one other thing before we get too far down the rabbit hole, this is a live event. If you do have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and enter them into the chat. And at the end of the presentation, we'll answer any questions that have been entered in the chat. So to begin with, let's take a look at the overview here. To begin with, in order to set up commissions, there's certain areas we've got to go into the system, and there's certain things we've got to turn on and then set, depending on what modules we're using and whatnot. But in any case, we've got our setups that we first got to take care of. Upon completion of that, the next thing we're going to be going through is the actual processing. We're going to take a look at a couple different examples based on different commission setups, how commissions are calculated. Closing, we'll take a look at the sales commission utilities, basically the housekeeping. This is the area where we're going to go through and purge those commission records out that we've already reconciled and taken care of. Begin with our commission setups. There's basically three key areas where we need to take care of the setups. First is accounts receivable. This is where we're going to turn our commission reporting up, so our sales guys up, assign our salespeople to customers, as well as ship to addresses. And as well, if you're not using the inventory and sales order module, you're also going to want to set up how you're going to handle commissions on your miscellaneous charges or miscellaneous items that you transact on through the accounts receivable module. Otherwise, with inventory and sales order integrated, then there's some additional setups, obviously, that we're going to want to set how we pay commissions on our items, how they're calculated, and then as well, how do we want to handle splits and overrides and things of that nature under the sales order processing module. Under accounts receivable setup, under the setup module, the first place we need to go is to the accounts receivable setup options. Here under setup options is where we're going to want to go. And under the setup options, you'll notice the area over on the right-hand side here, the commission area. This is where we're going to want to turn on our sales commission reporting. And as well, if we want commissions paid on paid invoices only, that's a setting as well that can be turned on. And the system will then only recommend payment of commissions based on invoices that have been paid. Next, how do you want to calculate your commissions? This is where we're going to set up whether the commissions are calculated based on the net invoice or the gross profit. And the other thing, we want to update that commission information to other modules. The other modules that we can update that information to are the payroll module. If your salesperson is actually an employee, you can go ahead and have that commission update to the payroll module as a payroll earning. If they're a 1099 vendor, you can, or even a service company, you can go ahead and have that commission update to the accounts payable, where it will go ahead and automate the process of creating the accounts payable invoice, allow you to cut the check against. And you can also update directly to the general ledger. In any case, accounts receivable setup options, this is where we're going to want to set those options up. After turning on the salesperson commissions, the next thing that we're going to need to do is set our salespeople up. Under the setup menu under accounts receivable is where you're going to go, and you're going to go into salesperson maintenance, and this is where you're going to set up your salespersons. If you have divisions turned on, you'll want to make sure that you create the salespeople for the proper divisions as well. And one other thing I'll point out, if you have national accounts turned on within the system and you have a bill to customer set up that's in a different division than the sold to customer, you're going to want to make sure that you have that salesperson set up within both of those divisions. But other than that, under the salesperson maintenance, you're going to go ahead to find the salesperson number, provide his address information. You're also going to set what's the default commission rate. And at a minimum, if you don't set any other properties up for commission computation within the system, at a minimum, commissions will be based on this commission rate that's assigned to the salesperson. Now, if there's a sales manager that also gets a percentage, you can go ahead and set who that salesperson is, or the manager is. You can also set the link up for that salesperson. So for an example, if he's a vendor, you can go ahead and click the link button up in the upper right-hand corner, and then that will open up the link window. And then from here, you can go ahead and specify who's the vendor, what GL account should be expensed when creating the invoice, and then what are the terms for the invoice when the system creates the invoice. And then once again, during period in processing, what will happen, the system will go ahead and during the commission edit register, it will go ahead and generate that invoice for you automatically over on the AP side. And then the other thing under the salesperson maintenance screen, once you start generating transactions, from here you can go to the history tab, and then that will kind of give you a display by period, the information for the commission sales, the profit, and the commission. The little icon on the side there, toolbar, if your security setting allows it, what that will do, that will open the fields up on that window, allowing you to edit those amounts in the event for some reason those amounts are off. And what would cause those amounts to become off, we'll get into that later on in the presentation, where we go in and can edit actual commission amounts. And when we do edits, those edits don't necessarily update back to the total screen. So now that we've got our salespeople set up, now we can go ahead and we can assign those salespeople to our customers. That's done under customer maintenance, under the accounts receivable main menu. This is where we're going to go ahead and we are going to assign the salesperson on a customer by customer basis. And as well, if there's any split commissions to be set up, you're going to go ahead and click the split commission window button, and that will open up the split commission window, and it'll allow you to specify the other salespeople that get the split commissions when transactions are posted against this customer. If the sales order module is set up with the system, you can go ahead and click the Ship To button, and you could specify who the salesperson is based on the ship-to location. So if the customer, for example, has 10 different ship-to locations, in theory, you could set up 10 different salespeople for each individual ship-to location. And then as you, once again, transact with that particular customer, then you set the ship-to location that will determine who the commission is going to be calculated for. One other thing, under the accounts receivable setup menu, you can access the miscellaneous item maintenance. This can also be accessed underneath the common information main menu. And under here, this is where you're going to want to set up whether or not you want to calculate sales commission on either your charge items or your miscellaneous charge items. And once again, if these items are not turned on, then when processing transactions against them, either in accounts receivable or if they're set up to be used in sales order as well, then a commission will not be calculated against these miscellaneous charge items. All right. At that point, if you're not using sales order or inventory management, you're pretty much ready to go ahead and start doing invoices and accounts receivable and transacting and generating commission information. However, if you are using the inventory module and the sales order module, then there are additional setups that are going to be needed to be taken into consideration before we start processing our transactions. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to get into the inventory setup menu, and under inventory setup, we're going to want to get into our inventory management options. And then from there, that's where we're going to want to go in and specify whether or not we want to calculate commissions by inventory item. If we do not select calculate commissions by inventory item, then what we'll be able to do on a item by item basis is select either standard, meaning calculate whatever the salesperson's standard commission rate is against the quantity being sold, or we can set it to none. Something similar to what I've shown earlier with the checkbox in miscellaneous item maintenance. However, if for some reason we set the calculate commission by inventory item checkbox, if we turn that on, then what that's going to do is that's going to give us some extra options under the commission method under inventory maintenance under the additional tab, where we can come in and we can do both either none or standard, or we can say calculate the commission based on a percentage of gross profit, a percent of price, or a percent of cost. We can also, from there, specify also not only the commission rate, but also a base commission. Once we've done with our inventory setups, the last item that we need to take care of is our sales order setup. Under sales order setup menu, once again, you'll find the program sales order options. And from there, you're going to want to specify how you're going to handle your split commissions between salespersons. You want to allow that. You want to allow a customer split commission to override the ship to salesperson. The other thing that's important under the setup menu in sales order setup is there's a program called line item commission maintenance. Here's where you can go in and specify based on a salesperson, a customer, and an item code, a commission override. So for an example that I'm showing, the salesperson, Jim Kentley, currently, whenever he sells this particular item code to Avnet, the standard commission method is a percentage of price, and the rate's 5% with a $15 base commission. And what we can do under the line item commission maintenance screen is we can actually go in and say, well, no, we want to override the standard, and we want to actually give him the base commission, but we want to change the commission rate from 5% to 7%. Before I close on the setups of the sales commission setup, one thing I want to point out, under Sage, there are two important documents that you can search for, and I've got an example of one of them up on the screen. But the one I have up on the screen is the calculating sales commissions. That's going to give you some information regarding the sales commission calculations. And we've also got sales commission calculation methods that you can see right below that. And that's going to give you an explanation along with an example on the different calculation methods I shown you when we were looking at the inventory screen. That's if we've got the inventory set up to calculate commissions by item, then we're allowed these additional calculation methods, and these are examples. The other thing that you'll find under help is the sales commission hierarchy. Sales commission hierarchy, what that does is kind of outlines basically a hierarchy that we look at when we calculate sales commissions. So, for an example, we did an override for Jim Kentley for that one part for that one customer. So what's going to happen whenever I go to do a sales order, the first thing it's going to look at is to see if there's been a line commission set up for that particular customer part and salesperson combination. If one hasn't been set up, the next thing it's going to look at is it's going to take a look at the item and then take a look at what's the sales commission method set there. If that's set to standard, then it's going to go ahead and give the flat rate based on the salesperson for that particular item customer combination. All right, next thing we're going to talk about is the actual processing. Now that we've got everything set up, we've got a pretty good understanding as to how everything should be calculated, we are now ready to go ahead and do some transactions within the system. Once we've done our transactions, the next thing we're going to take a look at is the analysis, the the reports that are available to us in the system, as well as then we'll take a look at the period end processing. Period end processing is where we do our edits after analyzing our commission report for the month. And then once we've done our edits, then we're ready to do our updates to the other modules if we've set the system up to do so. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the sales order invoicing, the salesperson assignment. So when we enter an invoice, or even for that fact, we can start off as a sales order. The first thing that we do is we assign the salesperson, and it defaults based on whoever the customer is. So for an example, in this particular case, in our example here, we've got ABS selected, and that's pulled in Jim Kentley. Now, if for some reason we need to do an override on the commission, we can go ahead, click the select the override down below, open up the override commission entry window, and we can go ahead and do an override of the commission information, as well as set up any split or view any existing split set up for that particular customer combination. Once we've entered in our header information, we're now ready to go ahead and enter in the line information of the items we're actually invoicing. As we select an item code, if the item code has been set up to be commissionable, you'll notice the field that I dragged up from the secondary grid below into the primary grid called CM. That field with the checkbox in it indicates whether or not that item is a commissionable item. If for some reason you're selling an item and you don't want a commission to be taken on that item, then go ahead and override if your security allows to do so by unchecking that box. Once you've entered all your line items, you are then ready to go ahead, verify your totals. The totals is basically going to give you the total information that you would normally see on any other invoice that you do in the system. The commission rate field should reflect what the commission rate is. In the event you've got some sort of a mixed commission rate because of the multiple items and you're doing commissions by item, then that field may not represent the actual commission rate. It doesn't really do any type of a standard or anything like that. It's basically reflecting what that sales rep's standard commission rate set is. Right, in the next example here, what I've done is I've entered in a transaction, an invoice. And in this particular invoice, you'll notice that we've got 3 different lines. All 3 lines are commissionable line items. However, each one has a different commission method. And we can see the first item is set up with a percentage of price with a rate of 12%. The next one is based on a percentage of gross profit with a rate of 38% with a base commission of $15. And the last one being a percent of cost with a commission rate of 9%. We can see on the header tab that our customer is ABF. The default salesperson is Jim Kentley. However, we are shipping this to ship to address code 1, which is the Racine warehouse. And we can see that when we ship to that particular warehouse, the salesperson who gets credits actually Shelley Westland. So in this particular one, we've got a different ship to based on the ship to location, we're getting an override on who the regular salesperson is. And once again, I want to show the lines tab, and you'll notice that the commission, or excuse me, not the lines tab, the totals tab, you'll notice that the commission rate is once again shown at 10%. And once again, because of the different combinations we've got, it's not really providing us any kind of an average or anything on the screen. Okay, in our last example, we can see that we've got an invoice here for Shelley Westland for Avnet. And on this one, when we take a look at the lines tab here, we can see in this particular case, this particular item is set up based on a percentage of gross profit. However, in this case, Shelley does have a line item commission maintenance record set up, which is going to do an override of that 38% with a $15 base. And in this particular one, she will receive a 40% commission based on this particular sale. And once again, if we look at the totals tab, This one's showing us that this one showing us is actually getting an 8% commission rate, which, as described in the other screens, is based on the standard. Once we update these transactions, we can see here in the first invoice, we can see the commission that it paid based on the $81.48. We can see that the commission amount worked out to be $8.15. And then down below, we're given visibility on the salesperson split information, with Jim getting 90% and then Shelley getting the other 10%, and what that broke down to be. One thing I want to point out, once you set up your sales commissions and you process your invoices and you go to run your daily sales report updates, after those updates reports are ran, you're going to be prompted to run the sales order gross profit journal. So I would recommend that you process and file these reports as well, because they do give you great details on the commission information. All right, next I want to talk about is the sales commission report. The sales commission report can be found underneath the Accounts Receivable Reports menu. The sales commission report is the report you're going to want to use as a tool to review and analyze your sales commissions for the period. Whether you pay your commissions monthly, quarterly, however periodically you pay them, this is the report you're going to want to use to go through and verify what those commissions are going to be. We can see that the report provides us with the information regarding the invoice date, the commission split information, whether it was a full percent or they split it with someone, the rate, the total, the sales subject to commission cost, the gross profit, profit percentage, and then the actual commission amount. Once you've ran your commission report and analyzed it for the month and you're ready to do your edits or make your changes, underneath the period end menu, you are under Accounts Receivable, you're going to find a link to the Commission Edit Maintenance Program. The Commission Edit Maintenance Program is the program you're going to want to use to edit the sales commissions that you need to edit for one reason or another. When going into this program, one thing I want to point out is you'll notice the memo code button next to the customer number field. Oops, excuse me, I went forward one too far. Bear with me 1 second, please. Here we go. You'll notice the customer memo button. If there's a memo recorded against the customer record and you need to view that memo, you can, by all means, click the memo code button, and that will give you access down to whatever the memo is, or if there's multiple memos, you should have access to the different memos. Other than that, going into this window, it's going to give us the information related to the transaction for that particular invoice. It's going to give us the invoice date, total, the sales subject to commission, the commission amount. Now you want to be careful. You'll notice the blue arrow button next to the commission rate field. You want to be careful. If you click that button, what that will do is that will recalculate the commission based on the commission rate. So if the commission rate is showing 0, then it's going to recalculate that amount and it's going to zero it out. So you want to be careful not to hit that button. In some of these cases, you're not going to show a commission rate because of the, like I said earlier, in some cases there may have been different rates used to calculate the commission. So you're going to want to be careful if for some reason the amount's different, you can go in here and edit that amount. Once you've done your commission edit, then you can go ahead and run your commission edit register. Sage recommends that when running your Sage edit commission register that you validate that back against your monthly sales commission report. Once you've verified the data on the commission edit register, at that point, the system's going to ask you, do you want to update your commissions? At which point you can go ahead and say yes. Now, those salespeople that you have set up with a link to the other modules, once again, accounts payable, payroll, or you can look at directly to general ledger. What's going to happen when you answer yes to that register update, it's going to go ahead and it's going to update those modules accordingly based on the commission information for the salesperson in question. And in this particular case, we have Mr. Jim Countley set up to have his commissions update to the accounts payable module. So we can see here that it's gone ahead, and after we answered yes to our sales commission register, it went ahead and created an invoice over in the accounts payable system. It pulled in the GL account number and grabbed the vendor number that we previously had set up in the salesperson maintenance window. So now I can go into my accounts payable system, run my accounts payable invoice register, update those invoices, and once I do that, now you'll notice when I go into Mr. Kelly's vendor record, we can see here we now have a payable invoice sitting out there with a due date based on the terms that we specified when we set up the link and the amount. You'll notice that the comment shows COMM. That's basically just letting us know that this is an invoice that came over based on the commissions. And you'll also notice that it used my system date for the invoice date when it created the AP invoice. All right. That just brings us to our utilities, the place where we're basically going to do our housekeeping. To begin with, once we've updated our commissions at the end of the month, those salespeople that we've updated, their data is still going to be sitting out there under sales commission edit. However, when you go to look at those records, it's going to show that they're linked already. So it's not going to let you make any changes to them. Usually at the end of the month, once you've settled your commissions and reconciled everything, it's usually generally a good practice to go through and purge those records out. So underneath the utilities, there is a program, Salesperson Commission Purge, that allows you to purge sales commission records out either based on a salesperson, customer number, or invoice date. In the example I'm showing here, I'm going to remove any commissions information that's less than 531. And do I want to remove, once I've gone ahead and clicked proceed, it's going to ask me, do I want to remove the selected salesperson commission records? I can go ahead and answer yes, at which time the system will go ahead and clean that information out for me. Now, going forward, I've got my June data starting to accumulate in there, and I'm ready to do my next month's worth of commission reporting. Hopefully, I've been able to demonstrate just how easy it really is to set commissions up, transact on them, report on them at the end of the month, and some of the housekeeping that you may want to do to help keep your records cleaned up. I thank you for your time. And before we get off here, I do have a couple questions that did pop up during our discussion. One of them was, can I do a split commission? Which actually that came up early on. Yes, and I think I demonstrated that already. We can set those splits up at the customer level, and then in sales orders, invoice data entry, we can go in there and we can do overrides of those splits as well. Can I email the sales reports to the salespeople? There's nothing really in the system that will allow you to do that. What you could do is you could use paperless office, I guess, and you could print the sales reports to paperless and then turn around from within paperless. You could email those individual reports to the salespeople. The other thing you can do, and I've got a client, actually I've got a couple of clients that do this with Sage Alerts and Workflows. You can create those custom reports, and in some cases, I've got clients that do this on a daily basis, send sales report information to the salespeople. So there are many different opportunities available to you on how you may be able to facilitate that. Can I post to the other modules? Yes, during the period in processing, as I demonstrated, when you go to run your sales commission edit register, if you have set a salesperson up and linked them to payroll, for an example, during that process, the system will go ahead and create the proper entries so that they can get paid accordingly. Okay, that's all I see. So once again, I'd like to thank everybody for their time. It's been a pleasure to go through this with you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us here at Accounting Business Solutions by JCS. My contact information is right there on the screen. I hope everybody enjoyed this, and I look forward to doing this with you all again. Bye for now.